Hello, in this video I'll show you how to make this hooded scarf on your circular knitting machine. So if you have a Sentro 48-pin machine or a Addi king size 46-pin machine, you can make this scarf as well. The hooded scarf is created with 13 squares that are made on the machine, and you can wear it like this, hood over your head, and then the scarf around your neck. So yeah, depending on how you want to style it, it can be up or down, and I'll show you how the back looks like. Okay, so in this video I'll show you how to make one of the squares and how to sew the squares together to form this scarf. I'll show you how to make this square on the machine. It's made on tube setting of the machine, and you need to cast on the full number of stitches in tube setting of your machine, and then pretty much knit for 33 rows, and you will get this perfect square. It's 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters if made on the Addi, and about approximately 16 centimeters by 16 centimeters when made on the Sentro 48, but it pretty much makes a perfect square. So in this particular example, we have 3 rows of the pink, 2 rows of the white, 3 rows pink, 2 rows white, and repeat like this until the end. But in my example that I'm going to make right now, I will use only the white yarn. If you don't want to drop any stitches, I recommend you place your pointing finger here, right next to where the yarn feeds through the pins, and it kind of navigates the yarn to be caught up by every single pin. So when working in the round is a great hack. I never drop stitches if I have my finger just like this, in this position. Okay, now we're going to cut the waste yarn and attach the working yarn. Also, right now is a good time to reset your row counter, because we're going to need to knit 33 rows with the working yarn. Here I recommend you also leave a long tail when you start the first row, because you will need this to close off the tube. Yeah, here you will use this long tail to close off the live stitches at the top and also at the bottom, and it will look like this straight line. Okay, so here's the final round of the working yarn. Again, we leave a long tail. And then we finish again with some waste yarn. And then using a darning needle, we're going to pick up all the stitches. Okay, now that we have the piece, we're going to stretch it a little bit, and I will show you how to secure the live stitches and create a perfect square. So here are two squares completely closed off on both sides, and this is how they look like. And I'll show you here on our example how to turn this tube into a perfect square. So you need to have crochet hook. I suggest use a bigger size hook because it gives it a very stretchy closure of the tube. So I use 5 millimeter. You can use 4.5, 5.5, whatever you have. I find 5 to work the best. So you need to locate the first stitch. So this is where you start off the machine and where you attach the working yarn. Okay, so like this. I go in with the hook in the very first stitch and I chain 1. Okay, so now you need to pick up stitches on both sides of the tube, and you need to be very careful. That's why it's good to use a contrasting working yarn, so you can easily see where are the 2 stitches from your tube with your working yarn. So here we have to pick up 1 from the front, 1 from the back, and with the working yarn, with the long tail that we have left, we do single crochet. So that's yarn over, pull up a loop once, you will have 2 loops on your hook, and then yarn over, pull up a loop one more time through all loops on your hook. So yes, this is the first stitch. So again, we insert the hook into the next live stitch from the front and from the back of the tube. We pull up once, yarn over, pull up twice. So again, okay, so now that we are at the end, if everything is correct, you should have 1 loop at the very end, and you need to just secure the last loop and pull up the yarn tail and make a knot. So this is how you make a finished edge on a tube. And now we can remove the waste yarn, and all the live stitches will be secured. Okay, so this is how the finished edge looks like. If you apply even tension and you don't pull too tightly, you will have this very nice and stretchy edge. And we'll do that on the other end as well. Okay, so now we're going to close off the tube on the other side. So here's the other end to complete. Again, we need to remove the waste yarn. So these are our squares that we're going to be sewing together. The tricky thing about the square is that you have 23 or 24 stitches horizontally. So these are 23 stitches if the square is made on the Addi King, and 24 stitches if it's made on the Sentro 48. And then you have 33 rows vertically. So in my pattern, I suggest we don't align the squares like this with the knit fabric going the same directions, but actually I rotate one of the squares and alternate squares like this. So one is positioned horizontally, the other one vertically. And here I'll show you on the actual hooded scarf. So see, we have all the squares are rotated and the direction of the knit fabric is alternated. And I do this because I think after you wash it and block it and wear it, each square actually keep its shape. And this has been washed and blocked and worn a few times, and still every square keeps its shape. On the contrary, when you sew together all the squares where the knit fabric is facing the same, is going the same direction, the whole piece will stretch uncontrollably, and I don't think it's the best. So, and also it creates a secondary pattern, which I think is really nice. So in this pattern, we're going to sew the squares like this. One is positioned horizontally and the other one is rotated vertically. So now this is the tricky part. So we have 33 rows here and we have 23 stitches on this side. So it's not going to be perfect, but we'll have to match the two sides so we can sew them together. Okay, so we start with the long tail that we have left when finishing the square, and with the darning needle. On the left square, we're going to pick up each sidebar. Here, that's called mattress stitching. So we're going to pick the sidebars of the left square with the knit rows of the right square. And on this square, we're going to go, so this is row 1, let's say. We're going to go through and back and pick up a row like this. And then again, through and back, and then pick up a row like this. So let me show you from a close-up. Okay, so we start with we pick up one line that we think it's the edge of the square, and I go and do one sidebar on the left square and connect it with the first row from the square. And then on the left, I'm going to pick up two sidebars like this. And then the next row like this. And this will create an invisible seam. So again, two sidebars on the left and one on the right, one row on the right. And then from time to time, I will pick one sidebar on the left just to make sure the squares are both even. And then you're going to gently pull this working yarn. And this is how the seam will look like. It will be practically invisible on this side. Even if you use contrasting yarn, you will not be able to see it. Okay, and then we continue like this until the end. Okay, so here is how the finished square looks like. So the last step is just to make a knot to secure the yarn. Okay, so this is the front, and there is actually a wrong side. So this is the wrong side of the two squares. So you will have this little edge that is going to pop off just a little bit, and on the right side of the square it will be completely flat. Okay, so once again on the hood, this is how the right side looks like, and this is how the wrong side looks like. So there is this a little bit of edge. It's almost unnoticeable, but yeah, you have an edge here. And this is how to make a square on the Addi and how to attach it together to form this hood. The full pattern will be on my Etsy shop and my Ravelry shop as well. So yeah, thank you for watching.